Hi, I'm Travis. This is Handcrafted Overlanding. So I do apologize for making this a two-parter. I'm filming this after the fact, and first one was just so dang long, so I decided to break it up in two parts. So in this episode, you're going to see me disassemble the dash in a 2020 Ram 2500. It's actually pretty straightforward. You're going to see me mount hardware for the amateur radio, and turns out there's a problem during the whole process. And it's not just me being lazy, although that is definitely a factor. Anyways, enjoy. Hey everyone. So, beautiful day out. Well, for me it's a little warm with no breeze. So it's 80 degrees out and I'm fine with that, but there's no breeze, and thanks Sacramento. Anyway, last night, after I finished the wiring and after I turned the camera off, I decided to play around with the APRS system on the radio. So, a couple things I learned. One, it works. I was able to get it to pull GPS data. I was able to show my location on the APRS info website, which is really cool. It shows geographical locations. It actually shows people that are moving if you have that set up. Really cool. I also found out that the Kenwood doesn't actually show real-time GPS data from your receiver. Kind of sucks. I kind of wish that it was in there, but for the age of the radio, I'm not going to complain. Mostly because nobody's around to listen to me who actually made the dang thing. I got that taken care of. Now it's time to go install it in the pickup truck. Now, I went ahead and took the liberty of cleaned up a little bit on the front seat. What I'm going to be doing is going to be removing the infotainment system off of this. This is a 5th gen interior body design. So that 5th gen body design is going to be same, I believe, between the 1500 to the 3500. But if you're curious on how to do it on a 2500, I'm going to show you how to yank out that infotainment system. While I'm in there, I'm going to be doing three things, a couple things. I'm going to find a place to mount the GPS unit, and I'm going to be using my good old friend, VHB. I'm also going to be locating power source for the Kenwood radio, and power source for the buck converter for the GPS. The buck converter for the GPS is going to be on an accessory switch. It's going to be the accessory switch that I'm going to pull out from that was initially connected to turn on and off the relay system on the DC-DC charge controller, which means I gotta go put in my new charge controller. I'll video it. I don't think it'll be part of this video. If you guys want to see it, let me know. The next bit is going to be routing the cable. I'm going to probably end up putting the Kenwood radio either underneath the driver's seat or underneath the center console seat, the jumper seat. If I put it underneath, well, it really doesn't matter which spot I put it under. I'm going to have to pull, I'll probably have to pull the seat and get the work done. Now, I know you can pull the center jump seat without having to pull the side seats. Give it a go, see what happens. Lastly, actually, I think that's it. Oh, in cable management, I'm going to be doing my cable wiring. I'm going to have to find a place, I'm going to have to find a way to route the cable. I'm going to try to keep it as clean as possible. If I can snake it underneath the carpet, I'm probably going to do that. I think I'll be able to. I have some galvanized wire that's supposed to be for gardening. Anyways, it's fairly rigid. I can run it underneath between the carpet and the frame of the body, and then just put a nice little slit in the carpet to pull the cabling out of. So with all that being said, let's get to it. Guess what I found? I actually remember where I put them. Funny, but you probably won't need them. From everything that I was watching, all you should need is a Phillips head screwdriver and a couple good tugs to pop this out. Underneath the top here, underneath this little crumb catcher, should be 2 Phillips head screwdrivers, but not here. We don't have Phillips head screwdriver Phillips up here. We have Torx. So let me go find a Torx tool. So over at Home Depot, I ended up buying a whole set of this huge, gigantic conglomeration set of drivers, Phillips and Standard. Part of that set came these handy dandy little torque set. So it covers everything from 10 to 30 in 5 increments. And this up here is a T20 Torx. I don't know if you can see that. So it's a T20. I'm going to use this little catch point for this. Now, when you go to remove this, don't yank on it completely out, because everything here is connected to the bezel. And you don't want to yank out all those wires and break something, because at that point you have to start working on your wiring harness. Just don't do it. So I'm just going to give it a couple good gentle tugs. Sounds like I'm breaking something, but from what I've researched, those are just simple clips. So I'm just going to use this kind of as a pry tool. So just be gentle. Just go around, take your time. Yeah, you can probably just tug on it, but I personally break stuff when I do it that way. There we go. I'd show you all the wiring, but I ain't gonna put this down for a camera. So I'm gonna go ahead and start disconnecting the wiring to remove the center console unit. In the event you wanted to change out your pack, work on this, change out your screen, there's kits online that do 12-inch inserts, really kind of cool. Use the same method. Anyways, the center console is off. Now the next task is going to be finding a place to mount the GPS unit. Looking on how this is formed, I think I might be able to go with right there. There's a little pocket that comes up and in here. And then this whole area right here is empty. Well, to an extent. Yeah, that part's empty. This has a magnetic base on it, so if I could find a place to stick it, I could. It'll stick to the roof, but that's not where it's going. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fit it here. Looking at the design on the back of the infotainment system, you can see here and here are the mount holes, which means this whole area should be clear, but that could also be for the wiring that goes up here. We'll have to do a little bit of measurement and finagling to see if it'll work. I'm gonna say it probably will. I'll run the cable back through here, back down. Then what I'll end up doing is, I'm gonna put this in the back seat for the moment. Oh, well, I'm thinking about clips. This thing's got tons of them. You got these plastic ones, which are for alignment, I bet. Then you have the metal ones. They're all plastic. So you got, what is it, 2, 4, 5 across the top. We got another 1, 2, 3, 4 down each, 5 down each side, and 2 on the bottom. So yeah, if you want to tug on it and pop it out, you can do that. I feel a lot more comfortable using the pry tool. Plus the kit's like $12 over at the cheapy store, cheapy hardware store. Yeah, anyways. I'm thinking, yeah, I really am thinking right here. I think that might be my best bet. My other option could be take a little bit of VHB, put it to the top, and stick it on the underside up in here. That would probably work. So, one thing I found about this guy, I was actually in my garage with the garage closed. There is a second floor above the garage, surrounded metal. This still pulled a GPS signal. I have a good feeling that right here will be a clear enough line of sight in order to get through and pull GPS. I'm hoping, at least. Ideally, I'd want to probably put it like in under here, like here or something like that, but yeah, I'm not really that interested in working that hard to get this installed. Then, after we get the wire for that fed through, I need to find and mount a location for the speaker. I need to find and mount position for the head unit. And then I'm going to take the bundle of all that cabling and probably pop this bottom trim off. I'm going to remove this seat and I'm going to pull that stuff underneath the carpet, underneath this seat. There should be enough room to mount the head unit. So, all right. Let's get a little bit of alcohol wipe swabbing going and we'll get that VHB stuck down. I'll go ahead and get this wired up. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off because you're just going to see a lot of the bald spot in the back of my head. So what's the point, right? All right, so GPS module mounted, got the cable pulled through. Now I pulled this out. Now, you don't have to do this. This is just 100% what I wanted to do, because what I'd like to do is I'd like to mount the speaker right in here in the back. You know, something like up here or like that, or basically I want to mount it up in the back out of the way, so you, when you're in the car, you won't be able to see it, but we'll get the nice loud speakers going on that. So that is what I'm going to do there. I've been thinking, I've been looking around on how I want to manage, how I want to mount the deck. And I'll be honest with you, I cannot find a single solution on my dash that I actually like. What I might just try to do is, I have some steel left out of projects. I might just make a stand and just tack weld this thing to the stand and just mount it like right there. I kind of like the idea. And what I'll do is I'll mount a little flangey piece that'll slide underneath this, so it'll just be kind of held down with pressure. Yeah, I kind of like that idea. May not get to that today, but I like that idea. All right, so I'm gonna go into the garage, grab the drill, gonna go ahead and mount the speaker into that unit, run the cabling. That'll be 2 of the 3 cables I have to pull. The third one's gonna be for the head unit, or 4 cables actually. I'm gonna have to pull a cable for the head unit. I'm gonna have to pull a cable for the handheld receiver. That has an extension. If I can hold it up. You know, you'd think I'd be a lot more organized, but yeah, me organized, that's funny. So this has a simple flat piece. I mean, you could probably drive a screw through it. I might just do that actually. You know, in this bad boy, mount this, say like right here. Right. Let's turn this around so you can see it. Maybe mount it right like that. How does that look? I think that looks good. Almost like I have an idea what I want. What a novel concept. All right, time to go put holes in the panel that's less than a year old. Well, that has a weird taste in my mouth. Welcome back. I have the speaker mounted, I have the jack mounted. Now, it was really kind of weird drilling holes into a brand new truck. Well, still, I did it. Got done. If you aren't going to install your head unit under your seat, you probably could put this all back together now, throw your head unit in the glove compartment or something like that and call it a day. But because I'm putting mine underneath this jumper, I think I want to leave this off for now, because I want to get the jumper out first, get my wiring pull planned out, go from there. Let me take you down with me. So you can see there's lots and lots of room. We have our vent that blows air, you know, motor assembly that allows air to go to the feet down in the back seat. This tells me that right here is probably going to be a pretty big gap in the carpet that I can probably pull that wiring through. But before I can figure that out, I need to get this part need to get this part out. Then I need to pull the center jumper out. Now, looking online, there's supposed to be 2 bolts in the back, 2 bolts in the front. The whole jumper is supposed to come off the feet because that's supposed to be easier. I don't know. So I'm going to sit here and monkey around with it, and as soon as I find out, I'll let you guys know. But we're almost there. We're almost ready to start pulling the wires. We're almost ready to start buttoning this thing up. Got 3 out of the 4 wires done on the dash. 1, 2, and third one's down here. Hey, here. Third one. And then the 4th one is going to be from the head unit to the base unit. Base unit's actually still in the garage. But I got to figure out where I'm going to put that, how I'm going to mount that, plan my wiring poles. While I was thinking about it, I kind of had a big brain moment. So I can try to find wiring up under the hood. The cool thing about the deck is it has like a 60 milliamp draw. It's nothing. So I could leave that hooked up to the battery. And this also has another 60 amp draw. Or 60 milliamp draw. They both have 60 milliamps. Now that's 120 milliamp draw. That's not a lot on a truck, and especially when I'm running my shore power on the truck. The question I am posing myself is it easier to pull the power cabling back from underneath the seat, underneath the dash? Is there power underneath the seat? Or, because you know, I do have that giant secondary battery underneath that rear seat, does it make more sense just to pull the cabling from the rear underneath the center console? Now, at that point, you might be like, Travis, that's 2 different directions to pull all your cables. That sounds ridiculous. Well, the truth of the matter is, it's going to be ridiculous because I still have the antenna cable I have to pull. I'm already thinking about using one of the plugs in the back by the secondary battery and just dropping it through there so I can bolt it to the roof. These are all just different options that I've been thinking about in my head. But I will have to say, it's like 86 out. Very, very small breeze. This canopy, whew. I've had this canopy like for 1.5 years. I don't know why I don't set it up to work on this thing. I mean, maybe I'm just lazy? Anyways, let's get the jumper out. So you may be wondering, why is the center jump seat still in? Well, that's because A, it's bare. Just looking around, don't really have much information on it on how to remove the center jump seat. Maybe I'm just looking at the wrong stuff. Also, secondly, I don't think it would have benefited me, to be honest with you. What do I mean by that? Well, as I pointed out earlier, the cooling system gets piped back there. Now, it's not just the under the feet, it's also the center unit as well. And feeling around underneath there, it takes up a lot of the space. So my next thought was, okay, well, what about underneath the driver's side seat? Well, no. The way everything's laid out under there, the bracket for the radio, I guess I'll let the radio in the garage again. The bracket for the radio is just too wide to fit in any given location that would fit properly. So what did I do? I decided that I'm going to put the main unit underneath the rear seat in the back. This affords me a few benefits. First off, my power is there, and I can run it off the secondary battery, so it actually completely frees up the potential running off of the primary battery. I can still tie it into a relay line back there for on-off with the secondary, or with the charge controller. I can have it click on and off a relay that'll enable the GPS module if I want. Lastly, I need to bring the antenna down through the back out there. So it's going to be closer to the antenna, which is also a plus. To get the wiring back there, I removed this center unit. Now to remove that center unit, you have to pull the shifter boot up. There are 2 bolts under there, here, and here. This is not part of that truck. And there's also a third one underneath the little rubber dust catcher right here. Those are all 8mm. I recommend a narrow, deep socket 8mm with an extension. I used a 1/4 inch. Worked out beautifully. Then the unit comes up and forward a little bit. I rotated it, got the boot through the opening, and pulled it right out. It's sitting in the garage right now. From there, you can see that I've reattached, or at least clipped back in, this bottom unit. The reason why I did that is I actually wrapped the 4 cables, the GPS, the speaker, the remote for the hand controller, and the head unit connector. I routed that. I wrapped the 4 bundles into a single bundle. I used some of that galvanized wire that I have, ran it under here, and then pulled all the slack out from underneath the dash. Brought that, so brought all the slack out from underneath the dash. I actually fed it through over here and laid the wiring over here. You can see all four of my cables right here. From there, I pulled it into the back seat. Let's go over here. You can see the cabling's right here. Right here. So I'll probably zip tie that together and make a nice clean bundle. From there, I had 2 options. I could do the easy way, which I did. And since I have a rubberized floor mat back here that covers the whole back of the seat, or the whole back of the floorboard, I ran the cable underneath there and just popped it up right there. That's all I did. If you want to run it underneath the carpet, you're going to probably remove this cup holder, which is held in retention clips here and here. You're going to want to pull probably all of these trim pieces. Then from here, you just kind of grab up on this, pop this thing up. Now it connects all the way into the back. I popped it up to about here because I was initially going to run it underneath the carpet, but this has padding underneath it, and frankly I just didn't want to play with it. That brings my wires back over here. Now what's next? I'm going to wire up the power. I'm going to wire up the connectors. I'm going to find the proper position that I want for the base unit. Actually, before I do any of that, I need to pull the battery. Up and out, because underneath there are my grommets that allow my pass-through underneath the truck. All trucks have them. This one has 2 on each side. Maybe I won't do it over there. Maybe I'll do the grommets over here. Who knows? I'll take a look. Then what I'll do is I'll pass the wires up, or I pass the antenna wire up through that hole. What I'll probably end up doing is running it down and around underneath the bed and up into the cab. So we got 4 out of the 5 wires in the back. Now it's time to go ahead and run the cabling for the antenna. Now I'm going to put my antenna smack dab in the middle of the roof. Of course, I'm going to do some cleaning up here, and then I'm going to run the cable back and down. Now, I'm not an expert. I think the whole idea is that you have a ground plane. This is grounded, of course, it's the chassis of the truck, and it helps attenuate the signal. I don't know, I'm just trying to sound smart. It's supposed to make the signal better. That's my speed on this. So let me get some cleaning solution, clean that up, run my cabling, and then I'll have all 5 cables in. Find a position to mount the Kenwood, secure it down, and then button up the front. And yeah, we'll get the front buttoned up, then we'll go ahead and get everything connected up into the head unit and the controller, and we'll give it a test, see how it does. All right, so I got the cable ran for the antenna. Now, instead of going underneath the truck like I initially was going to, I went through the back window. A couple of reasons. One, California, it's April, not going to rain anymore. I know the forecast may call for it, but it's not going to rain anymore, so it doesn't matter. Plus, that's not going to be my final antenna for this truck. I have another project that will actually end up superseding where that antenna is mounted, and we'll eventually change that over. That's a great one for now, and that particular project isn't going to be for another couple of months, so it'll be okay. I got everything wired up underneath the rear seat. Hold on. Move glasses. And a few things occurred to me. So once everything's wired up over here, I ended up snapping off the little earpiece for this. It's just a RJ45 connector, but I don't happen to have any more. So I'll end up picking one up somewhere else. The rest of the wiring is done. There is power to the unit, but for some reason I cannot get the head unit to turn on. So that sucks. But that GPS module that I built, that one works. It's actually right now connected and has found satellites. What does that mean for this project? Well, that means that I'm done with the project for today. It's 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and I gotta get this video out. But essentially, it doesn't work. I have everything in line, ready for it. Maybe it's just a cable to jiggle. Maybe the CPU in the unit needs to reset. I'm not sure why it's doing it. It just is. I reached out to my buddy Trevor. We've been troubleshooting, and we will figure it out. If you guys are interested in the long term of it, let me know down in the comments. I will be building a little stand right here for it, because I just think that'll look so much nicer than trying to mount it to the dash. Now, the camera is lower than the driver's sitting position is, and you cannot see that speaker or that connector. The only thing that looks out of place is this wire right here. That's the only thing that looks like it's aftermarket from this work. See if I wired this back up right. Uh-oh. I guess I get to figure out what's going on with that now. Alright, so... no, just had to reboot because it's unplugged for so long. Alright, so... that fires up. I'll test out the different bits and bobs on this off camera. But, yeah. All done. Nothing to show for it. Well, I wouldn't say nothing to show for it, but we aren't going to be talking to anyone. We aren't going to be sending any APRS signal packs out today. So if you guys, like I said, if you guys are interested on an update, feel free to drop a comment in the description, and if I get enough interest, I will put another video. Otherwise, you'll happen to see it in a camping video at some point if it worked, or if I couldn't get it to work. I'll be sure to let you guys know. All right. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. You guys have a great day. Bye. All right. After doing that whole install, as you can see, the radio is sitting back on the bench again. But the question might be why? Well, I checked the cabling. Cabling checks out fine. I've built new cabling builds out fine. It looks fine. So during some part of this process, I screwed up probably the head unit. The voltage still reads out from this guy. This system still reboots just fine. I have tried making a new connector cable between the two. I actually have a new connector cable on order, just in case I just suck at making a new connector cable. Plus, I'm looking up what I can do to possibly tear this down and start troubleshooting. basically the issue is you hit the power button, it won't turn on anymore. Not 100% sure why, but I'm going to call this a fail for now. I will end up pulling new cabling. This guy will eventually, unless it's totally just hooped, it will end up going into the truck. And it's a great radio. The new replacement 710 is just as good as radio, but definitely a lot newer looking. Anyways, that's where I am on this project. I'm going to consider it a fail. The install was lackluster, and I do apologize for that part of the video. I do hope, though, anyone who's trying to figure out how to disassemble their center console in their 2500, that this video has been helpful. As for the install, well, once I know more about this, I will post an update part of another video. This thing has probably gotten enough attention as it is. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.